Welcome to the Vegan Stew. And it's the middle of the month, and we're here on Wednesdays, except for the first Wednesday of the month. And if you could go to YouTube and subscribe, that'd be great. And hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Even better, we greatly appreciate it. I say thank you to BB Kids for being the sponsor this month of our lives. And on Friday, you can do face yoga with Tiffany at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I think there might be a surprise live tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but I think it might be happening if I can fit it in. And if you like to win prizes, we give away 12 prize packs this month. You just go to virtualvegfestlive.com, hit the contest tab, and you can get entered to win one of 12 from Terra Seed, Hodo Foods, Veg Key, Cinnaholic, Fabulous, Bernie Wild's Adventure Sauce, Kathy Hester, Tripo Treats, BB Kids, Total Body Lab, Dojo Fresh, and Pigeon Sauce. How cool is that? And we are on the road on Friday to go to Wilmington Veg Fest in Wilmington, North Carolina. And then a week from Sunday, Columbia Veg Fest in Columbia, South Carolina. It's Veg Fest season, so get out there and support the vegan community and all the vendors because they need your support. Go spend some money and make their days. They would really appreciate that. Tonight, we're going to talk about a few things, but our main topic, which sometimes takes us a while to get to, our main topic is how to approach like omnivores, the best strategies for talking to an omnivore, which sometimes there isn't one. So we'll see what happens and what we all have to say. And let's get it started. If you have any questions or comments, once again, put them in a little box, join the show, let us know what your thoughts and feelings are, ask us questions. We love that. So we have Marla Rose from Vegan Street.
Hey.
We have Ellen Jaffe Jones looking down, the veg coach. And we've got Sofrin on the West Coast.
Hello.
From Morel and Morning. Well, so where do I want to start? So why did I sent a link to everybody earlier today, and it has to do with cultured dextrose. This came up on a post, I think in Wilmington Vegan actually, and I saw it this morning, and I said, you know what? Maybe I should look into this. Like, what is this? Is it vegan? Is it not vegan? It seems to be in hummus. It seems to be in a lot of foods that we eat. And I don't know how I feel. I honestly don't. I've read this whole blog post. I read the second blog post. And this is one of those times where reading the comments was a good idea. I will go grab this and put it in the chat. So when all of you get a moment, you can read it too. Mm-hmm. So my understanding, and Marla, you probably read it, so you can help me correct me if I'm wrong, is cultured dextrose is a preservative that gets put into foods that, and this goes sciencey, that is derived from skim milk, potentially. And that a lot of products that have vegan labeling on them, like at Trader Joe's, have this dextrose in that, cultured dextrose in it, derived from skim milk. Like a long time ago, almost like a yeast or a sour starter. That's how it started, but it's not in it now. But that's how it started. And somewhere in there, they said it's tested on animals, which we kind of throw out the window now because do you eat Beyond Meat? Do you eat Impossible Sausages? Do we, we've kind of blurred that line a little. So what do we, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of been, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place these days, just generally, but I do feel like when we're getting into micro ingredients, there can come a point where it's just you're just nitpicking for the point of nitpicking. This doesn't seem to be the case because it does seem to have an animal origin in it. It's not, you know what I mean? So I kind of look at it in two ways. One is it for me, and the other is it fine for other people? You know, because it varies. You know, like the amount of suffering inflicted on animals because of an origin in powdered extra or dextrose or whatever it's called is probably negligible, especially if people eat these other products instead of animal products. I don't know. I have no idea, but I do think personally with cell-based stuff, I don't know. It is a little bit like I feel sometimes very disconnected from. Like Ellen probably can relate to this a little bit. It's just like I don't know. I just saw a headline in a veg pub or vegan publication, just like what you can order at Burger King. I was like, what the hell? Where are we? And that doesn't have to do with cell based so much as like we are so far afield from where I began as a vegan, you know. And it's just like you can order this, you can order the apple pie, you can do, you know,
You get
whatever.
the French toast sticks.
Yeah, and so and as companies are moving more in the direction of trying to offer something for plant-based patrons, it's becoming more and more. And I think I am becoming more and more like, you know, I personally don't need it. If other people want to eat it, I don't care. Does that make any sense? You know?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess, pick your battles. Although reading from the article, later I investigated more. I found out the cultured dextrose is manufactured by Danisco. Is that like the same as Dannon? I don't know. Under the name MicroGuard as a patented natural clean label range for shelf life protection, aka preservative. Some MicroGuard products are skim milk based, some are dextrose based, but both bases are fermented using a dairy-based culture known as P. fruiten So now I'm aware there will be people who call me out as being extreme on this, but cultured dextrose is probably not vegan, as most certainly not natural. This food additive exists directly as a result of the dairy industry and is used mostly in non-vegan processed foods. So, you know, to me, it's sort of like vegan yogurt. So we're not going to use the lactobacillus that's in the dairy-based yogurt, although they can extract it and put it in other products. But, you know, you can get vegan yogurt that doesn't have that. So, you know, I think we have to do a little bit of our homework here and, you know, just do we even need to be eating whatever it is they're in? I mean, carrots or lettuce or so it's this whole thing of just what did Mother Nature intend? What did our ancestors really do? And why do we need to eat all this stuff? I don't know.
I have a question. If either of you know, like, do people with very serious dairy allergies, do they have to avoid it? You know?
It according to like what they're saying is there's no dairy in it.
Okay.
Right.
It's just like where it originated.
Right. It's where it originated from. However, there was, you know, in the comments, someone was saying, oh, I got sick. So, and then they just kind of decided that was where they got sick from. But I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel about this because there was a really sciencey like comment that basically was like, if you don't eat this, then you probably can't eat nutritional yeast.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Yeah.
And things like that because of how they're derived.
Mm-hmm.
So
wait, how is nutritional yeast derived from something dairy?
I can't answer that.
Well,
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she's talking about like with the starter, with like, you know, a lot of times with like sourdough and these different yeasts, you know, that's getting far into the weeds for me, you know, but I do feel like generally I land on the side of we have so many bigger issues, like as our planet is on fire and falling into the ocean. You know, I
Yeah.
don't, yeah. So it's just as easy to fixate on these things, but I feel like it kind of,
Princess.
I don't know. It's not
Is it
something
too
I'm
loud
gonna
for me,
buy.
though?
Yeah.
Is it too loud? I'll go on earbuds.
I don't think it'll make a difference. Princess is barking. We'll hear it. Yeah, I don't know. Are the foods vegan? I mean, now that you know about cultured dextrose, I think if you start looking at the ingredients, how far do you want to go
Yeah.
in your world? So I know, sugar isn't necessarily vegan because of
Right.
the bone char,
Yeah.
but I know that when I brought it up to people like years ago, I said, "Hey, do you eat sugar with bone char?" And the majority of people said, "When I'm out, I don't bother. I don't care. But at home, I don't buy it."
Right. Yeah.
So, and that to me is worse than this cultured dextrose because it's bone char. It is actually on there.
Yeah. It's
The
on
cultured
there. Yeah.
dextrose is probably not animal at this point. It's just the origin of it. Let's see what John has to say. From beyondsushi.com. In most cases, cultured dextrose is made using dairy products, making it unsafe for anyone with dairy allergies or who chooses a vegan lifestyle. However, many manufacturers are turning away from dairy-based bacteria in the fermentation process, leading to completely vegan products that simultaneously avoid the risks associated with chemically altered preservatives.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you for doing the research for us. But I just wanted to bring that up because it's, obviously this is definitely one of those that's one of those things that could probably blow up on a vegan platform on Facebook commenting.
Right.
I didn't go back to look at the comments on Wilmington Vegan since this morning, and it was pretty calm. So that's that's not bad. But I obviously haven't looked at it since. But I mean, you all have to make your choices as to what you want to put in your body.
Right.
And if you have allergies, then I'm intolerant to dairy.
Yeah.
So am I eating stuff? It's never even crossed my mind to even look up cultured dextrose. So
Yeah.
it now is.
It is it's a hard thing to navigate because, we are trying to make it as easy for people as possible and take away as many roadblocks as possible. So I do think I kind of land again with just like, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to stand in your way if you do this. And nor am I going to make a big fuss publicly about this. Like there's a brand I don't want to mention right now, but they're an ethical vegan treat brand, and they make among other things, they make Rice Krispie treats that are amazing. But the point is, they learned, and these are like hardcore vegans who have been doing this forever, they learned like after a year or so of making these treats that at some point in the process, the Rice Krispies that they use vitamin D3 instead of D2, or the other way around. I don't remember
right.
what.
A sheet melon.
So then now they have to source, and all of, like, when you get into the chemistry of baking and all of that, like all of the different Rice Krispies react differently to. So now they have to reformulate their whole thing. Not only source the new Rice Krispies and find something that's comparable economically, but reformulate the whole thing, so it does, like, it's not easy,
No, and then you can't even trust the ingredients on something because if they rebrand it, they may have redone the ingredients.
Yeah.
And that's happened a lot. Like we've purchased stuff and I've just naturally purchased something again,
Sure.
didn't look at the ingredients, only to find that there's an allergen in there now, which is a preservative for our household. And it's like, what the? Shouldn't you like say you're changing the
Yeah, just like
ingredients?
put something on the package. But yeah, like
Right.
Trader Joe's, I think is notorious for that. Like they'll have a vegan product that's been on the market for years, and then suddenly they'll reformulate it, and you didn't think to look at the ingredients because it was safe for all that
Right,
time.
because now it has milk in it. Like so much stuff at Trader Joe's, which used to be vegan, is no longer vegan.
Mm.
Like a lot of the chocolate stuff.
Yeah, that sucks.
They decided to put, whey or milk or
Yeah.
something in it. A confectioner's glaze. Hey, that's a little pop quiz. Does everybody know what confectioner's glaze is? Because it
It's a
sounds so
little bug.
benign.
The bugs. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like something you want to eat.
No.
Glaze everything with it.
It's
They
like
do.
shellac, right? It
Yeah.
has the same.
It's a bug shellac.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like I made hummus for lunch today, a bunch of chickpeas, some tahini, some lemon juice, some garlic. And I know not like for a lot of people that's just like, oh, that's so much, but and I don't want to assume that other people want to go that far and like, but it really is so. I don't know. I feel like I sidestep a lot of this just by cooking at home as much.
Yourself.
Yeah.
You can
Right,
if you have
and
the time. I mean, a lot of people don't have the time to cook things
yeah,
themselves.
or we all, I think a lot of us are pretty flexible in terms of our work. Like we've designed our lives so that we can more or less be, in charge of our schedules. Like, like I work from home. So that flexibility is huge,
Yep.
and not a lot of people have that. So, and yeah, but so like if somebody's gonna, that's for the local vegan pages for people to, yeah, I agree with you. For people to get after each other about micro ingredients.
When I get that, I always say, you don't have time for diabetes and heart disease. Those are real time wasters. I mean, it does not take much to throw stuff in a blender. It really doesn't.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it is for a lot of people, it really is baby steps. A lot of people like they don't, and I don't want to sound condescending, but like a lot of people just don't like to cook. They don't enjoy it. They look at cooking like I do doing the dishes. I hate it.
So my brother couldn't like cook water.
Yeah. There are people like that. Yeah.
I mean, he made like pancakes for my niece once and they were raw. Pancakes.
But people get desperate on their deathbeds. Have you all heard the commercial for BlendJet? I actually bought one of them. They're portable blenders that are rechargeable, and you just plug them into a USB port. And I got one because I'm going to be traveling this summer, and I thought, well, this would be cool to have. And they claim in their radio commercial that they've sold like 8 billion of them or something, and they come in all these 30 different colors. I mean, it's just really mainstreaming. And the commercial for it is, this was invented or created by my husband who had a life-threatening illness, and this was the way he was able to recover.
Yeah.
Like green smoothies.
I had a BlendJet.
You do? You like it?
No.
It's no Vitamix, but it's
no. I mean, it works really well. I learned my lesson in regards to things that can blend and cannot blend. And I have like textural issues sensory wise. So some things just didn't break up. I use it for the kids. They love it. But yeah, it was, I got it when it first came out, like when it was the big thing. And I just wanted something portable, and it was great. The battery kind of ran, maybe because I made too many in a short period of time. But it was good to have. It was good for anybody who, of course, wants to make smoothies and things like that and take it with them and, be able to eat healthy and start that journey on the go. And I love that you have the higher end and you have the lower end, and you really do not need to have a higher end. It is really portable. They do have a lot of colors. Guess mine. And it was. Let's go. Okay.
Sorry. Sovereigns is hot pink.
Hiss. Yes. yeah, I mean they're great. I did end up getting like one for the kids as well, individually, because I can't survive on them trying to attack every single smoothie before I even get it. So I'm like, here's your own. You guys love it. Here's a green one for you, and here's a red one for you. Here's Hulk, and here's Iron Man, and there you go. And they just are giddy to to make their own. But yeah, they're pretty cool blenders, and
Awesome. I'm always trying to impress upon people. Like, it doesn't have to be a fancy blender, but blenders can really save you money, you know.
Oops.
So I did 7.
But
What,
here I
There
go.
we go. There you are.
Sorry, sorry, I don't know what happened.
Oh, here it is. Here's the blend jet. We got show and tell again from Ellen.
Blend jet. Pink. Ah,
Pink.
yay. No, they are really cool. They're really, really handy. They are really, really good blenders.
That sounds
is really
perfect
cool.
for travel.
Yeah, it really is.
When I drive, I take the Vitamix with me. So
So, like your regular big ass Vitamix?
Vitamix is hard on a plane.
I will and Ellen knows I make smoothies every morning for
Yeah,
people who come with us for Veg Fest. So including the day of the festival, everybody gets a smoothie if you want one.
Can I have one?
If you come to festivals with us, come stay in the house with us, you get a smoothie. You get a lot of other food too. I just ordered food for Saturday for the whole team. and
She'll
it'll
even
be
let you
delivered.
speak for free.
I will.
Well, sometimes like I think we've talked about this before, but like I think sometimes we can get so into fetishizing certain brands and products and stuff, like not us specifically, but like Blendtec or Vitamix and stuff like that, that we make people feel lesser than if they have like a KitchenAid or Cuisinart or something from the thrift store.
Yeah.
The fact is, that they all work, and you can always level up if you find that you're using them a lot. But it's like one of those situations where I feel like it's another example of the conundrum of it's expensive to be poor. So you can't necessarily afford an expensive blender. So you have to go through a bunch of different ones, all in, all that time, or it's expensive to be poor. So you order off the dollar menu or whatever, and then it ends up affecting your health, so
Which I drove by a food bank today, and the line was wrapped around the building.
Oh,
It's just like,
prices are so high, and there's a lot of poverty,
prices are very high for businesses. That's why, just so everyone knows, when you go to a festival and the food is $17, $18, $20, $25 for that plate of food, which in 2019 was 10, 12,
Yeah,
maybe 15. It's
we
because
noticed that,
it is
right?
incredibly expensive to get basic ingredients like lettuce,
It is. Yeah, I know
cauliflower.
one of John's clients just took a vegan restaurant just took cauliflower off their menu temporarily because they can't justify the prices.
It's like hundreds of dollars for a case,
right?
of cauliflower.
And then, like, when we were driving through, to Texas, every lunch, like, and we weren't like necessarily at fancy places or anything, just lunch was at least $17 per plate per person. That's lunch. It used to be like, okay, that's dinner. But yeah, like everything is, so it really probably is wise to start looking into cooking more from home if you're able,
Group eating. Go out with a whole bunch of people so that you can order more and try more things and then split the tab.
I get very, very like
Selfish,
protective
very protective of your food. If it's really, really, really good, you can't have any.
Yeah.
But that has to be like on a super duper level. And you'll know, because I might be humming as I'm eating, you're not getting any.
Right.
But there's not a lot of foods that I won't share. So let's see, like Walter did what I did this morning when I learned about this cultured dextrose, and he went and he did some searching. So that's great. Unlike other cultured dextrose products, CytoGuard CDP Ultra is not produced from dairy starch cultures, making it a clean label shelf life extension solution suitable for vegan and vegetarian applications. The thing is, how do you know which one it is?
Right.
You have
In
to
the
get
product.
the company and say, what are you using?
Right. Like who's are you using? And in that blog post, it was a different brand. So I don't know.
Mhm.
Like Marla hit the nail on the head. You have to do you.
Mhm.
And you don't need to sit on the internet and tell people that they're wrong for being you. So just don't be influenced, don't have the peer pressure. Just live your life and do the things that you
Yeah,
want to do.
sense for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the best advice that
Right.
I think one some of the best advice we've given ever.
Listen,
Well, I think on the scale of harm, it's pretty low there, but like, obviously we want to always fine tune and do the best we can. And
Yep.
at a certain point, it just becomes a madness of trying to,
Yeah, because then you don't take medicine.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, that to me was always justified in the description of what a vegan is, because like where it's possible and practicable. If it's not possible for you to live without medication, whether it's antidepressant medication or medication for cancer,
Advil for my
it's
tooth
fine.
pain that
Which-
I have major tooth pain. My head is pounding right now.
Sorry.
Like I told Ellen, it's every night, the same
Oh.
time it starts to just go really bad.
Oh.
And then before I go to bed, I take 2 Advil and it starves it off until about 5:36 p.m. the next day.
do you have a dentist appointment?
I will when I get through the next 2 weekends.
Is it like a nerve thing, you think?
I don't know what's happened. I had a cavity filled.
Yeah.
And then it started hurting after that. It could be a root canal needed. It's not as horrible as it could be because, like I said, I can get it to be calm.
Advil is not great.
No, that's why I only take it once a day, and I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how long it lasts until. And I'm in pain now, but I'm not going to take it until probably like 10, 11 p.m. Yeah. So I just deal with it. But that's my stuff. And it's funny thing, a year ago, I had to get a root canal and I was in a lot of pain.
That is really funny. No kidding. It's not
No,
funny.
it's just ironic. I'm like, come on.
Chronic pain is such a nightmare.
Worst.
Yeah. I mean, it changes your whole outlook, your personality. And I mean, like,
Yeah, being in pain in general does that.
Yeah. But I think chronic pain.
Yeah.
Where that's,
I've had chronic back pain, so I'm very aware of the change in the way you are because of the pain that you're in. I don't know how to segue this to our conversation, but
speaking of pain,
they do cause a lot when you're talking to omnivores. They could be very mean. As much as we talk about vegans being mean on this show, omnivores. They're the ones that, when you do a sponsored ad, they're the ones that are there. They do the laughing emoji on your ad. And you're like.
And then you can't get rid of those. You can block them and the laugh will still be there.
There's nothing, right. There's nothing you can do, but every time I do a sponsored ad, inevitably somebody's going to come on and laugh at it. So
I'm so sorry.
It's just, what are you going to do? And I have to make the assumption that it's someone who's not vegan and thinks the festival is just funny. And so strategies for talking to omnivores, we all have like many years of being in this. I mean, even I'm vegan for like, 11, 12 years, whatever it is, vegetarian from 19 years old. So I've I heard more probably when I was vegetarian than I heard when I went vegan. And really people they don't really mess with me anymore. If they don't mess with me anymore. So I obviously can hold my ground if I need to. But it's especially important for people who are new to why they're doing this. There's a lot of peer pressure from people who look at you and say, "Hey, why are you doing that? It just can't be good for you." Or you're gonna eat your protein, your iron, you're deficient, you'll be, you're gonna be weak and not be able to get up in the mornings and stuff like that. And meanwhile, they're eating, animal flesh, which, as Ellen's already referred to, diabetes, strokes, heart disease, cancer, cracking open your chest is extreme.
Right.
It's very extreme. It's way more extreme than eating animals. And that's something that you can say to somebody, and you have to gauge it. Like if you can turn it around into a positive, that's the best conversation you can have with somebody.
Right.
With an omnivore who has curiosity, as opposed to being a dick, who is curious. And you can get defensive, or you can find common ground. And in finding that common ground, you just might help somebody at some point. From that point on, you planted that seed, and seeds are meant to grow. You just don't know when, where the watering is going to come from, or what the catalyst is going to be to have the person go, maybe I'll try this Meatless Monday thing. Or I had that Beyond Burger and it was good. So, and the prices are now more comparable. So I think that helps until the latest thing is, So what are your strategies for dealing with omnivores?
Well, one is I don't believe that social media platforms are effective ways of having conversations. So even with people who you relate to, but especially not with people who you don't know, who are possibly trolling you. So what I tend to do is just put my information out there. And if somebody wants to argue and debate, I don't engage. I will put I will respond in a way that doesn't waste my time. I will, address misconceptions, and I will post a link, but I will not be dragged into these futile, ridiculous conversations anymore. So I think it's really hard to discern if somebody is legitimately curious or if somebody's a troll, although sometimes it gets easier and easier over time. So I put the information out there. If they come back at me with misinformation or a misinterpretation, I will try to correct that. If they come back again, I will just say, I addressed that, I'm out. And this is a link for further information. But my time is way too valuable. That's how I look at it. So.
Well, I've always, can you hear me okay?
Sovereign's talking. I guess Ellen can.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sovereign.
Go ahead.
I don't think Ellen can.
I can hear you.
Omnivores?
Okay, good.
As long as, as long as you respect me and we respect each other, we'll be fine. I have friends that are vegan, friends that are omnivores, friends that don't know what they are. I don't really associate a lot or have friends that if you're going to do the meat and bacon thing, you can go somewhere. If you're going to think that it's cute to harass, I don't have to be friends with you. In regards to omnivores, the ones that I do have are at least respectful enough to say, okay, we will make sure that we clean off anything we're going to be cooking for you. We'll even go ahead and buy. You don't have to buy something super expensive. Just a separate pan. I don't care where it's from. As long as it's from, that means that you're considerate because you're okay, I understand. Yes, sometimes. And therefore, we can kumbaya with each other because we're respecting each other. that's how I, in regards to omnivores, because just my experience. But if you want to be rude, or you want to make comments, or you want to not respect me, there's nothing saying that I have to respect you, and we will part ways. Snip, snip, clip, like, we're done. It really just depends on who that person is, how they behave, that type of thing. But if you're coming from an experiences that I had so far, these are it. So far, we respect each other, we understand, but I will cut you off, if you're going to be a total douche. Is that going to be edited? Did I say douche in a bad way? I didn't realize. It just came out. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Go ahead, Ellen.
I don't think the 7 dirty words apply here.
I was going to say, I've said way worse
Douche
things.
isn't one of them. So anyway, I don't know. I play in traffic all the time, in the mainstream traffic. And, that's what I do. It's kind of like the third daughter being rebellious. I get to do that pretty much every day in the running community. And either it's in person or online. And I just try not to be too much in your face about it, but I will wear a vegan shirt at a race. And, invariably somebody will come up and make a comment or just want to ask questions. And that's all what it's for. It's all about it. And of course, Veg Fest, you often will be at the table and somebody comes up who really has honest questions. And that's why they're there. They want to learn. And so I've always loved playing in that environment, because that's where lives are changed and decisions are made. And it's a real opportunity to inspire other people, I think. I'll be going to the National Senior Games again this summer and being sponsored again by an organization that is not vegan, but they are very vegan friendly and are happy for me to promote the message however and wherever I can. And, the world really is changing, especially with some of these, as the environment closes in, nobody, it's very difficult for people to say it's not in my backyard, because it is. And, I was supposed to, of course, segue, to be in Fort Lauderdale this past weekend at the very first vegan bodybuilding competition. And I don't know how many people didn't come, but I woke up Saturday morning and saw all the flooding videos and looked at the weather report. National Weather Service still saying it was flooding, and the streets were blocked, and I wasn't going to endanger myself and the passengers in my car to try and get there from here. And there were some people who weren't happy about it and said, you're not supporting our vegan cause. And it's like, I'm not really good at supporting the cause if I get injured or I don't mean to be a worrywart here, but then another friend of mine posted a link just this morning about how Florida is unsuitable to live in anymore, because the water table now, as has been long predicted, is getting affected by the rising waters. The limestone, especially on the other side of the coast, other side of the state, is what is being saturated by salt water, and it's endangering water sources. So, it's happening now. It's not just the streets of Miami on a super tide are getting inconvenienced. So I don't know. We have to be out there however we can, because, we should have been vegan yesterday.
Well, what Ellen's referring to is that in Fort Lauderdale last week, before the weekend, they got in like 3 hours. They got 3 hours. They got like 22 inches of rain. They got hurricane rain on a day that it was just supposed to rain, and the airport flooded. My cousin actually made the national news because she's in a picture that she posted. She goes, "Look, I made the national news." She lost her car, and she said it could be replaced. She's into her knees in the water with like her umbrella, which is really funny, but not to live through. So, but that is a lot of rain. And Katya went down. She flew down on Friday morning. The event was on Saturday, and I didn't say anything to her. She left really early in the morning, and I was like, "Is she gonna make it?" She's flying into the airport that was just closed because it was flooded. I'm assuming she flew into Fort Lauderdale.
Well, a lot of them were diverted to Miami. That's what I was told.
Oh,
Because I
wow.
asked if the event was going to be closed or going on, and they said, well, all the Fort Lauderdale airport didn't open until 8 a.m. Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah. Then I don't know where she flew into then, because, I'm assuming she booked her flight to Fort Lauderdale because it's the closest thing to where the event was. But the event, I mean, to throw some love at the event, Jeff Palmer and SoFlo Vegan, Sean from SoFlo Vegans, and Robert Cheek, who's come up on the show, and and Royce emceed it. They had a vegan bodybuilding competition and some vendors and some other speakers. And Ellen, it was 500 people probably in attendance, 18 competitors. So I got the review.
Yeah, I saw the pictures on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, so it's good for them. It was set up in a way that was expensive. So if I was them, I would move venues next year, and I think that would help. Because convention centers, man, they charged
Oh yeah,
$300 for a table and 2 chairs. I don't know what kind of tables and chairs they are, or what labor is bringing you that table and 2 chairs. $300. Right there, I would say, nope, not booking this place. Who can afford that? That is out of control.
I think if the weather had been better, they would have had a lot more people, both in participants and attendees.
Yeah, you just can't. That's the thing about everything that we do. Weather, people, it's you can't control it. So you just kind of have to go with, and that certainly wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
So I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, I had a hurricane last year. I had to move my festival. So I can't imagine having to.
That was like in hurricane season. It's not hurricane season.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
the other part of this story, that all this insanity is happening now.
Well, that, and also they've it's just very poor, very greedy planning, like getting rid of wetlands that could absorb excess water. It makes no sense except for making money for wealthy people quicker, who want to develop the area, so. But yeah, it's sad. Where were we?
Well, we got onto weather because it was a good segue by Ellen to get that in. And I mean,
let's talk about coverage of the environment. Fox News and the lawsuit they had to settle this week. That is just a teeny tiny example. Right. I mean, that network was never set up to be a news operation. It was always about entertainment, and people taking it as the gospel now. And, heaven help you if you support some cause and somebody has been listening to Fox News on it. It's
kind of funny because there are people who are understandably griping that, as part of the settlement, they don't have to acknowledge, they don't have to apologize. But to me, it's like, what would be the point? Because their viewers have mashed potatoes for brains at this point, so it doesn't matter, and I don't mean to be mean, but that's basically like it. There was yet another innocent person who walked into the wrong environment today. Somebody walked in. I posted a link to the story. She got into a car, a teenager who she thought it was hers. She mistakenly thought it was hers. She walked into the car. She saw a man sitting in there. And so she immediately assumed, oh, I'm in the wrong car. Like, she started getting out. She just thought that she wasn't sure what he shot her twice. She was and she's still alive.
She's in critical condition.
Teenage athlete. And like the young man in Kansas City, will probably never be able to perform. Like, he was a musician. He is a musician, but with the traumatic brain injury, who knows? The young woman, the 20-year-old in New York State, who was killed when the people in her car went down an accidental wrong driveway. Like, at some point, should we not be questioning what is making people so paranoid and such a lack of impulse control that they would shoot someone for knocking on their door or driving down their, driveway. And I have to think that Fox News and those talking heads and that paranoid dissemination of misinformation about like strangers being out to get you, I would think that at some point that has to have something to do with it. It makes no sense. This is like the third one within a week.
And when I was a reporter in Miami, there was a case, the Rodney, was it Zamora, where they used sugar as a defense for his irrational behavior in some kind of murder. And, it's when is it finally going to get to that where somebody's going to say, oh, I heard it on Fox. And
well, I think the thing is that with what we found out from the political end of things with Sandy Hook is that when young, primarily white children were slaughtered like that, and they did nothing, and they still have done barely anything, if not nothing, we ultimately know that they don't care about human lives. We ultimately know that they are beholden to the NRA, and that's it. And that, so living with that acknowledgement of, the NRA needs people to be paranoid and to buy as many guns as possible and to distrust and to be violently paranoid. In fact,
perpetrate the rumors and the myths that it was all a hoax. I mean, just, shame on them for the misinformation that creates that kind of inexcusable.
Right. But there are people like who have lost their parents to Fox News. Like they're like, my parents were good people.
QAnon.
Yeah. I mean, it's a gateway to QAnon, absolutely. But I like where people will say, I can no longer have a conversation with my parents. They are lost. They are gone. Their brains have been scrambled basically by this network.
So to bring that back to our topic.
Yeah. Well, you're the one who got into weather. Come on.
Ellen is Ellen. So to bring it back to it all kind of blends together, because how do you speak to someone who's lost in a cult? How do you speak to someone who, an omnivore that eats meat and potatoes? How do you speak to somebody who thinks what you're doing is foolish? Like, and it came up last week. It was me saying, well, how do we, because we never answered my question, which other people watched the show and were like, you guys never answered the question. I don't know if we can answer the question of how do we prove to people that when they post climate change isn't real, that's not true. And when we post it, that we're on the right side of history. We're like, actually, like this, at this point, you both all brought it up. You can't ignore the signs of the climate changing. It's all around us.
It's getting them to care. It's not so much, getting through to them cognitively, but getting through to their hearts where they're empowered enough. I mean, I think that's what a lot of this comes down to, is the disempowerment of these different platforms of saying you're doing everything just fine. Don't listen to those crazy vegans. They just want to make you feel bad. Those feminists just want to make you feel bad. Those BLM activists just want to make you feel bad. Just keep doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
What's that?
Those Democrats, those liberals.
Right. And so
trans people.
Yeah. And that's the bias people want to believe. I mean, we all want to believe the road that's easier, right? So
I mean, the whole thing is like, I understand why there's bias, but I don't understand why it's public.
oh yeah, there's like a mass.
Right? Like I
Mhm.
get that everybody has their biases,
Mhm.
right? Everybody has things that in your home you may make fun of, but you wouldn't really take it out into public because
People just don't like to change. I mean, I think it comes down to that. And change threatens everything they've ever learned and believed. And until, like, I keep coming back to this, and maybe this is why health is such an easy entry to veganism. People get desperate when they come up with these conditions and realize, oh, I got this condition that if I look at the hospital, they're teaching the Dean Ornish program for reversing heart disease. So there must be some way I can deal with this. And it's just an easier way to get into their heads through.
Well, it's like I don't mean this in a negative way, but like a self-interested thing. Like you can keep ignoring climate change and just say, well, in my lifetime, I'll be fine. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
My kids will maybe be a little less fine, but they'll generally be fine. You know what I mean? Like, but
Somewhere else.
right.
just make sure your kids live in high parts of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, I it's funny what you're saying is people don't like change. Then women should never ever have any of these issues because of the sexes that live on this planet. Women deal with change more than anybody else. I mean, you as a child, you suddenly start growing breasts, and and then you bleed for whatever number of years. You may get pregnant, you may miscarry, you may have babies, you may have multiple babies. Pregnancy, and each pregnancy is different. And then you start raising kids, and your body is changed because you had babies, or you just age and you go through menopause, another major change, and you hit your crone years. But you're constantly dealing with change. Your hair's changing, your skin's changing, your emotions, your hormones are changing. Women deal with change every single month, hormonally.
Right, but we might just internally just say, well, that's something I can't do anything about. Whereas I could keep living my normal life and not change these other aspects of it. I can keep eating the way I do, keep living the way I do, keep believing what I do. But like the stuff going on with my hormones, I can't really control.
Well, I mean,
but maybe that is why it seems like there are more female vegans, is like just adapting to this idea that life is change and change is good, and it keeps us young and it keeps us healthy. So I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that I don't think that people should spend a lot of time dealing with, like trying to convince trolls, because like they have limitless time. They have nothing but time and they literally probably get off on your attention. Something I don't want to think about. But you just, at a certain point, you probably have to weigh out the benefits, and like when you're engaging with someone who's pushing back hard on you, you're more on social media, you're more talking to the other people who can read that, than to that individual. So that's worthwhile.
And don't use gang mentality on either side. Like, just don't do that. Don't go put the word out for everybody to come and attack.
Oh God,
either side.
I don't
seriously fight your own battle. If you're going to go into the battle, you're going to dive into it. Fight your own battle. Don't bring reinforcements. If the reinforcements come on their own,
right.
Great.
Well, can I say, like, that is one thing that we deal with Vegan Street. Like, maybe, like, for the most part, people our posts are pretty benign and sometimes a little more edgy, whatever. But once in a while, something will get under the skin of someone, obviously, and they post it in a group and they're like, come on, gang. And
Yep.
so then it just gets inundated and flooded with troll after troll after troll. And it's so inorganic. It's so obvious. It's just like one after the next, all coming at the same time,
Saying
all
the same
basically
things.
saying the same thing.
Right. And it's like,
It's like, dude,
come up with something.
Yeah. And so I don't want to be part of that myself either. It's like,
Right. If you're going to fight a battle, I mean, granted, it's great to have people behind you if you're going to fight a battle like a community against, laws that need to be changed or, injustice. That's different than a troll or people on Facebook or social media. And even in person, you don't need to tell everybody to hate somebody because you had a disagreement with them. I mean, I think we're all at the age that are on the stew where we're mature enough to go, I don't like this person anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't need all of you to hate them too.
Right. No.
Right. And I mean, if you don't see the toxic behavior, well, then you will eventually.
I mean, I think there's a point probably to warning some, close friends about someone whose behavior might be hurtful. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's different, I think, than like, if you don't stop talking to so-and-so, I'm not going to be your friend. Like, that's so very middle school.
Very, right. Very 30-year-olds.
Oh, I was thinking 13, but yeah.
Yeah. The adult version of it is in the 30s.
Yeah. That's,
you're still in that childish type behavior. You don't grow out of it until like you're 40 something. So so it's hard. It's hard, talking to people who are the complete opposite of what you do. Laughter, joking. I think that is a good strategy if you can with somebody, but at the same time, not laughing off them thinking murdering animals is not a problem.
I think there's not like hard and fast rules. I think there, if you're going to engage, there has to be some flexibility and understanding that it's not like going to be a textbook, add 3 tablespoons of this. Stir
right. It's humans that have individual personalities and brains that have words that come out of their mouth based on what's going on the other side of the conversation and how you phrase, how you speak, the words you choose, no matter what they are, no matter what topic you're talking about, if you tell somebody that they need to do something, they know. So I don't think it matters what it is. No, you can't date that person. I'm going to date that person. So as a kid, as a parent, that's very humans are very interesting.
Right.
Very, very
but
interesting.
I do think everyone should really be careful about your time, because I know I've said this before, but trolls really get a thrill and a kick out of commanding your time. So just be aware that might be part of why they keep, there's different expressions. What is it called? Like sea lioning and different methods of trying to just asking questions, redirections, things like that. That just be aware of the different, they tend to not be super subtle. Just pay attention because you don't want your time wasted.
Yeah, time is our most precious commodity, no matter what we do. And, for me, I'd rather be out promoting this message and doing my thing than arguing with somebody that is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I've had, believe me, my battles and trolls in the running community, online and locally, from people who just hate vegans. I mean, they say that. And you just have to move on. It's like, oh, well, I'll see you at my age. That's kind of always my line. I'll see you at 70 and see how that works out for you.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well, anyone else have anything else to say about this week? I have to make a lot of bags and shirts for this coming 2 weekends.
If there is a God, Helene, you are doing God's work. That's for sure.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. And Stephen will say there isn't one.
So you're just doing it.
Oh, here's Walter said. Just called that. The most effective way to change someone's mind is to trick them into thinking they came up with the idea themselves. That's true. It's funny. In my sociological class in community college, the professor, she was like, what I do to my husband when I want what I want for dinner is she would give him choices, and she knew that he would always pick the choice that came in a certain spot. So she'd just give him the choices and put the one she wanted in the spot that he would pick. And in now understanding like relationships better, I almost think that he understood that too. And that was a game that they played.
Right.
Without her knowing that was a game that was being played, which would be very cute. But I can imagine that if it's so consistent that he would do that he caught on, whatever year, and that he was being just a great guy and just going, okay, that's what she wants for dinner. All right, we'll pick that one.
That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's so strange. That went away. Okay. All right. Well, after that, I'm going to end us. And next week, it looks like it was Trolls. How do you deal? And we just did that. So, and I think next week we'll do all vegans have to be friends?
Oh, yes.
We don't talk about it now because I know how I feel. So, and then we'll go that route next. We'll go that route next week. And let me say, okay, thank you, Sovereign.
Good night, everyone.
Oops.
Bye.
Sovereign, you want to say? No, sorry. Thank you,
Oh.
Sovereign.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Thanks, Marla. And thank you, Ellen. And thanks again. Thank you for joining the Vegan Stew and being a part of our conversation. As you can tell, we go all over the place. Just how we actually talk to one another when we're not live and you watching us talk about something. Go to virtualvegfestlive.com, enter our contest. It's a contest tab to win one of our 12 prize packs. Thanks to BB Kids for sponsoring our lives this month. And Kimberly Tiffany is on Friday with Face Yoga, which is pretty cool. It's 10 minutes. You can do it from anywhere at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And come to in-person festivals. Wilmington, North Carolina on Sunday. And then the following Sunday, Columbia, South Carolina. Super excited. VegFest season is upon us. Have a great night. Be kind. Be good to one another. And we'll see you next week. Bye.